Have you ever started a vegetable garden with the best intentions, only to find yourself too busy to keep up? Maybe life got hectic. The weeds grew faster than your vegetables. A few missed waterings turned healthy seedlings into wilted stems. Before long, the garden you were so excited about became another unfinished project. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. One of the biggest myths in gardening is that growing your own food requires hours of work every single week. We picture experienced gardeners outside from sunrise to sunset, constantly watering, pruning, fertilizing, and pulling weeds. But here's what nobody tells you. Some vegetables are incredibly forgiving. They don't demand constant attention. They don't panic if you miss a day or two. And once they get established, many seem almost determined to grow, sometimes even better when they're left alone. That realization completely changed the way I garden. Instead of filling every inch of my beds with high-maintenance crops, I started choosing vegetables that practically took care of themselves. The result wasn't just less work. It was more food. Today, we're counting down 15 vegetables that grow with almost no work, making them perfect for beginners, busy families, retirees, and anyone who wants fresh harvests without spending every weekend in the garden. Some of these vegetables keep producing for months. One actually improves after light frost. Another practically grows itself year after year. And the number one vegetable has saved countless gardeners from giving up altogether. Let's begin with a plant that many people forget is one of the easiest vegetables you'll ever grow. Number 15. Swiss chard, the vegetable that keeps giving. Swiss chard rarely gets the attention it deserves. Walk through a garden in midsummer, and you'll immediately notice its towering stems glowing in brilliant shades of ruby red, sunshine yellow, bright orange, or creamy white. Large crinkled green leaves rise above them, like colorful flags dancing in the breeze. It's one of the most beautiful, edible plants you can grow. But its real superpower is persistence. Unlike lettuce, which often bolts in summer heat, Swiss chard simply keeps growing. Harvest the outer leaves, leave the center untouched, and the plant continues producing fresh foliage for months. It handles warm weather surprisingly well, tolerates occasional missed waterings, and even survives light frosts that would damage more delicate vegetables. Plant it in full sun or partial shade with fertile, well-drained soil. Once established, a layer of mulch helps lock in moisture and reduces the need for frequent watering. Here's a simple harvesting secret. Never cut the entire plant. Instead, pick only the oldest outer leaves. The center keeps producing new growth almost endlessly. Sometimes the best vegetable isn't the one that grows the fastest. It's the one that refuses to stop growing. And speaking of dependable vegetables, the next one has been quietly feeding families for generations. Number 14. Bush beans, fast food from the garden. If you're looking for quick success, bush beans are hard to beat. Within just a couple of months, compact green plants become covered with crisp pods hanging beneath lush foliage, like hidden treasures waiting to be discovered. There's something incredibly satisfying about reaching into the leaves and filling an entire basket in just a few minutes. Unlike pole beans, bush beans don't need tall trellises or elaborate supports. Simply plant them in a sunny spot, keep the soil evenly moist while they're becoming established, and nature does most of the work. One of the biggest secrets to getting a longer harvest is succession planting. Instead of sowing all your seeds at once, plant another small row every 2 or 3 weeks. That simple habit keeps fresh beans coming long after the first plants slow down. Few vegetables reward such little effort with so much food, but the next one may surprise you, because most people don't realize it's one of the easiest crops they'll ever grow. Number 13. Zucchini, the garden's overachiever. Ask experienced gardeners which vegetable produces the most food with the least effort, and zucchini almost always makes the list. At first, the plant seems almost ordinary. Large fuzzy leaves spread across the soil, while bright yellow blossoms open each morning. Then suddenly, tiny zucchini begin appearing beneath the leaves. Within days, they're ready to harvest. Miss one for a week, and you may come back to something the size of a baseball bat. That's how productive zucchini can be. Give it rich soil, full sun, and consistent watering during dry weather. Once established, it grows with incredible determination. One tip every beginner should know is this. Harvest zucchini while it's still small, usually 6 to 8 inches long. Smaller fruits are sweeter, more tender, and encourage the plant to keep producing even more. Sometimes abundance isn't about planting more. It's about harvesting sooner. Number 12. Kale, the vegetable that loves tough weather. Many vegetables begin struggling as summer fades. Kale does the opposite. Its thick, deeply textured leaves seem to welcome cooler weather, often becoming sweeter after the first light frost. Imagine stepping outside on a crisp autumn morning, brushing away a little dew, and harvesting vibrant green leaves, while many other vegetables have already finished for the season. That's one reason gardeners love kale. It's incredibly resilient. It tolerates cold. It resists many common problems, and it keeps producing when harvested correctly. Like Swiss chard, simply remove the outer leaves, while allowing the center to continue growing. Plant kale in full sun or light shade, provide steady moisture while young, and mulch around the base to reduce watering later. One healthy plant can feed a family for weeks. Few vegetables stretch the gardening season quite like kale. By now, you're probably seeing a pattern. The easiest vegetables aren't necessarily the fanciest. They're the ones that quietly keep producing without asking much in return. And we're only getting started. The next 4 vegetables include one that's practically impossible to kill, another that keeps multiplying underground, and one that many gardeners accidentally grow better by doing less. Number 11. Green onions. Plant once, harvest again. Green onions almost feel like cheating. Plant them once, harvest what you need. And before long, they're growing back again. Their slender green leaves stand upright like tiny fountains, adding fresh color to garden beds throughout the season. They're perfect for soups, salads, stir-fries, baked potatoes, and countless everyday meals. They don't require much space. They don't need complicated care. And because they mature quickly, they reward beginners almost immediately. One helpful trick is to cut only the green tops instead of pulling out the entire plant. Leave the white base and roots in the soil, and fresh leaves often return for another harvest. Sometimes gardening really can be that simple. Number 10. Radishes. Almost instant gratification. Few vegetables reward patience as quickly as radishes. In as little as 3 to 4 weeks, tiny seeds transform into crisp, colorful roots hiding just beneath the soil. Pull one from the ground and brush away the dirt. Bright red, pink, purple, white, or even black roots appear like little treasures you've been growing without seeing. Radishes thrive during cool weather, making them perfect for spring and fall gardens. They prefer loose, well-drained soil and regular watering while developing. Here's a useful trick. Harvest them promptly once they reach size. Waiting too long often makes them woody instead of crisp. Fast harvests make room for the next crop. And that's exactly why busy gardeners love them. Number 9. Garlic. Plant it. Then, almost forget it. Garlic may be one of the lowest maintenance vegetables you'll ever grow. Plant individual cloves in autumn. Cover them with mulch. Then let nature handle most of the work. Months later, sturdy green leaves rise from the soil almost as if they planted themselves. By early summer, bulbs have quietly developed underground, ready to be harvested. Garlic enjoys full sun, loose soil, and surprisingly little attention once established. One important clue tells you harvest time is near. When the lower leaves begin turning brown while the upper leaves remain green, it's usually time to dig. Growing garlic teaches one of gardening's greatest lessons. Sometimes the best things happen while you're patiently waiting. Potatoes. Hidden treasure beneath the soil. There's something almost magical about harvesting potatoes. For weeks, all you see are leafy green plants. Then one day, you gently dig beneath the soil and discover dozens of beautiful potatoes hiding underneath. It's like uncovering buried treasure. Potatoes grow wonderfully in raised beds, grow bags, or large containers. Simply keep adding soil or mulch around the stems as they grow. This encourages even more potatoes to develop underground. Give them sunshine, moderate watering, and loose soil. The plants do the rest. Few gardening moments are more satisfying than that first handful of freshly dug potatoes. If you've made it this far, you've probably realized something. The most successful gardens aren't always the ones that receive the most attention. Very often, they're planted with vegetables that naturally thrive without constant fuss. That's encouraging, because whether you're working full-time, raising a family, or simply want to spend less time maintaining your garden and more time enjoying it, these final vegetables prove you don't have to work harder to harvest more. Let's continue. Number 7. Spinach. Fast, forgiving, and packed with goodness. Spinach has a quiet confidence. Its smooth, deep green leaves rise quickly from the soil, creating neat little clusters that seem ready for harvest almost before you realize they've grown. Cool spring mornings are where spinach truly shines. It loves temperatures that make many other vegetables struggle. Plant it in early spring or again in late summer for a fall crop, and you'll often enjoy weeks of continuous harvesting. The secret is simple. Never pull up the whole plant. Instead, Snip the larger outer leaves while leaving the center intact. Fresh leaves continue appearing, giving you multiple harvests from one planting. A little morning sunshine and consistently moist soil are usually all spinach asks for. For busy gardeners, that's an easy bargain. Number 6. Cucumbers, the climber that almost grows itself. There's something exciting about cucumbers. One week, you see tiny yellow flowers. The next, slender green cucumbers seem to appear overnight. Growing them on a simple trellis makes everything easier. The vines climb naturally, the fruit stays cleaner, and harvesting becomes as simple as reaching out your hand. Bush cucumber varieties are especially useful for containers and smaller gardens, while vining types produce impressive harvests in surprisingly little space. Keep the soil evenly moist, mulch around the base to reduce watering, and harvest regularly. Here's the surprising part. The more cucumbers you pick, the more the plant tries to produce. Nature rewards consistency. Before long, you'll have enough fresh cucumbers for salads, sandwiches, pickling, and sharing with neighbors. By now, you're probably noticing another pattern. Most of these vegetables don't become low maintenance by accident. A little preparation at the beginning, healthy soil, mulch, and choosing the right location saves hours of work later. That's one of gardening's greatest secrets. Work smarter in spring. Harvesting is easier all summer. And our final 5 vegetables demonstrate that perfectly. Number 5. Sweet potatoes, beauty above, harvest below. Sweet potatoes are generous in more ways than one. Above ground, long vines spread across the garden, with heart-shaped leaves that create a lush carpet of green. Below ground, the real treasure quietly develops. As the season progresses, thick, nutritious roots slowly grow larger, waiting patiently beneath the soil. Sweet potatoes love warm weather, full sun, and loose, well-drained soil. Once established, they're surprisingly tolerant of dry conditions compared to many other vegetables. One helpful tip is to avoid adding too much nitrogen fertilizer. Too much encourages leafy vines instead of the underground harvest you're actually growing. Sometimes less really is more. Number 4. Asparagus. Plant once, harvest for years. If there were a Lifetime Achievement Award for vegetables, asparagus would probably win it. Unlike annual crops that need replanting every season, asparagus is a perennial. Plant it once. Care for it during its first couple of years, and it can reward you with spring harvests for well over a decade. Each spring, thick green spears push through the soil, almost like nature's announcement that gardening season has officially begun. The hardest part is waiting during the establishment period. But once mature, asparagus asks for surprisingly little beyond occasional weeding, mulching, and watering during prolonged dry spells. Patience is rewarded in one of the most satisfying ways imaginable. Number 3. Rhubarb, the vegetable that returns every spring. Most people think of rhubarb in pies and desserts, but before it reaches the kitchen, it's one of the most striking plants in the garden. Massive green leaves rise dramatically above thick, ruby-red stalks that almost seem to glow in the morning sunlight. Rhubarb thrives in cooler climates and returns faithfully year after year. Once established, it becomes one of the lowest maintenance vegetables you'll ever grow. Simply give it rich soil, regular moisture during dry spells, and plenty of room to spread. One important reminder: only harvest the stalks. The leaves contain compounds that shouldn't be eaten. Treat the plant well, and it will reward you every spring with another dependable harvest. Number 2. Walking onions, the vegetable that plants itself. Some vegetables are productive. Walking onions are fascinating. Instead of producing seeds in the usual way, they develop tiny bulb clusters at the top of their stalks. As those bulbils grow heavier, the stalk bends toward the ground. Eventually, the bulbs touch the soil, root themselves, and begin growing all over again. It's almost as if the plant is literally walking through your garden. Once established, walking onions need very little attention. They're hardy, reliable, and return year after year with almost no effort. Harvest the green tops like scallions or dig mature bulbs for cooking. It's one of nature's cleverest gardening tricks. Number 1. Cherry tomatoes, the vegetable that never seems to stop. If I could recommend just one vegetable to someone who believes they don't have a green thumb, it would be cherry tomatoes. There's a reason they're loved by beginners and experienced gardeners alike. Early in the season, bright yellow blossoms appear across the vines. Soon afterward, tiny green tomatoes begin forming in long clusters. Then almost overnight, they're glowing red, golden, yellow, orange, or even deep purple, depending on the variety. Pick a handful today. Come back a few days later, and there's another handful waiting. Cherry tomatoes are incredibly productive. They grow beautifully in containers, raised beds, or directly in the garden. Give them full sunshine, a sturdy cage or stake, regular watering, and harvest often. The more you pick, the more they produce. It's one of the simplest ways to experience the joy of gardening. And for many people, it's the vegetable that starts a lifelong love of growing food. Here's something experienced gardeners eventually discover. A low-maintenance garden doesn't happen because you ignore it. It happens because you choose the right plants. Vegetables that naturally resist problems. Continue producing after harvest. Handle changing weather. And forgive the occasional missed watering. Those are the plants that make gardening enjoyable instead of exhausting. Start with just a few. Learn what grows well in your climate. Celebrate every harvest, no matter how small. Then let your confidence grow alongside your garden. Picture yourself stepping outside on a warm summer morning. You gather a handful of cherry tomatoes for breakfast. Snip fresh spinach for lunch. Dig a few potatoes for dinner. Pull a crisp cucumber from the vine. And cut a basket of Swiss chard that's already growing back for next week. The entire harvest takes just minutes. No stress, no endless maintenance. Just fresh food waiting for you in a garden that fits your life instead of demanding it. That's the beauty of choosing vegetables that work with you, not against you. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these low-maintenance vegetables is your favorite? Is there one that's been growing almost effortlessly in your garden? Or are you excited to try one for the first time this season? Share your experience in the comments below. Your advice could help another gardener grow more food with less work. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to Roots and Remedies for more practical gardening tips, edible plants, medicinal herbs, and simple ways to create a thriving, productive garden without spending every weekend maintaining it. Until next time, keep planting, keep learning, and remember, the best gardens aren't always the ones that require the most work. They're the ones that bring the most joy.